Hey everyone, happy Thursday. Today I'm coming to you from O'Fallon, Illinois. If you know where that is, you're one of the 100 Facebook friends I have from growing up in grade school, high school, etc. in O'Fallon. It is about 20 minutes east of St. Louis. A whole ton of you won't know where that is either. That's okay, it's right in the middle of the country. Anyway, this is where I'm from, and I am home to visit my mother and figured it would be a good time to finally address the quit that so many of you have brought to me. So many people have said, I want to, I need to, or I have quit my family, or more specifically, quit certain family members. Today, I'm just going to address quitting parents because it's a very specific category of family. Brothers and sisters, whole different set of issues, cousins, aunts, uncles, all that. We can address those a different day. I'm just going to deal with quitting your parents because I think that's probably one of the most, I guess quitting your offspring would be another one. Very emotionally charged, emotionally difficult quit. And let's start with the basics of why it's difficult. First off, quitting people in general is often difficult. Relationships don't come along every day. Sometimes you don't want to break them or take breaks from them. But as many of you who are in the self-development world have probably heard many times, and if you aren't in that world, let me be the first to tell you something along the lines of, you are the summation of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So you should be very particular about who you let into your inner circle, whether it be the 5 people or the 10 people or whomever you spend a lot of your time with and a lot of your energy surrounding comes from. Like if you're always in negative interactions, you're going to be surrounded by a negative energy. So when it comes to friends, it's pretty easy to see, okay, this person, I always feel really negative around them. I'm going to find some way to kind of cut them out of my life. I just don't call them, to do things, etc. But people have a lot harder time when that is a family member. And like I said today, especially we're talking about parents. Now, if your parents are giving you enough issue in your life, anxiety, stress, worry, guilt is probably a big one, then think about the fact that they probably wouldn't, if they weren't somehow genetically related to you, they wouldn't qualify to be in your inner circle to start with, or not to start with, but they wouldn't qualify to be in your inner circle if you were deciding, okay, I'm only going to surround myself with people that bring me good energy. So why? And I'm going to just knock down these thoughts strategically. And by the way, some of what I say is going to be very controversial to many people, but it's just the truth as I see it. It is just my opinion. But the reason that I think people have a lot of time quitting their parents is a feeling that they are indebted to them. And it's funny because I had a parent say to me the other day, it's a friend of mine, but he has 2 kids, and he was having some issue with his son. And he said, I gave up 18 years of my life for him. He owes me such and such. And I thought, no, actually, I didn't even think. I told him, you didn't give up. He didn't ask you to give up those years of your life. That is a choice that you as a parent made. So if parents have children for some, let's say, reason that's, I want somebody to take care of me when I'm older, or something that, let's just be honest, that's more of a selfish reason. It's not like I want to bring a being into this life and I want to give it a good childhood and then a good adulthood and let them be who they want to be. That's what I think a reason is to have a child. I do not want to have children, so I don't know what those reasons are, but my mother, who was a great mom, she wanted to bring something into this world, make it great, and give it the best life possible. She didn't put any expectations on me. Yeah, parents have disappointments if you do a thing wrong or thoughts about how to do it right, but whatever my life looked like, as long as I was happy, she was going to be happy. So I feel as though sometimes people say to me, why don't you want to have kids? Who's going to take care of you when you get older? Or, you're going to be lonely, or this and that, reasons that are completely selfish. Why don't you want to pass on your genes? Sweet Jesus, if those are the reasons you're having a kid. That's not something that you can put, therefore, on the child as a responsibility that they have to pay back these 18 years that, you did them a favor of raising them. This is going to get ranty because I have very strong feelings about this. So just to back up, if you're feeling like you can't quit a parent because you're indebted to them, That's where I would like to free you from that feeling. You can be very, very, very grateful to your parents. For example, I am very grateful to my parents, but I do not feel indebted to them. And they do not feel that there's any debt that I have to pay them back because they raised me. If you're having a child, that child doesn't have the opportunity to say, no, don't birth me. I don't know that I'm going to want to spend the rest of my life paying you back, by taking care of you or making the choices that you would approve of. The child you have in that situation does not have the choice. So why would the parent then saddle them with that responsibility for the rest of your life? Oh, you got to take care of me. You got to love who I say you're going to love. You're going to be in the career that I say you're going to have. That to me seems like the most selfish thing that a parent could do. In my mind, because I had one of these parents, a true great parent is one who says, I'm bringing life into this world because I wanted to bring life into this world, and I would love to support it and love to support it in whatever that looks like. They can do whatever they want, be whomever they want within, reason, as long as it's not hurting somebody else. So if you're feeling like, okay, I have a parent that's giving me so much negative energy that I'm considering quitting them, it's giving me so much anxiety, grief, guilt, whatever. But the reason that you have not quit them, and I will tell you what quitting a parent looks like in a minute, then please release yourself of that guilt. Because if it's indebtedness, they have no right to make you feel indebted. If that's a completely selfish reason to have a kid. If you're going to say, you owe me now after everything I've done for you, maybe that's a controversial viewpoint, but that's why I'm not having a child, because I do not want to give up, as my friend said, 18 years of my life. Some people want to make that sacrifice. I do not want to make that sacrifice. I do not have a maternal instinct, but I believe people are born with one and they would like to birth and care for a child. At which point you should never put that on the child. The rest of your life, you're going to have to do whatever I say. So those of you who are parents, put yourself back into your children role, because you are also children, and think should you be indebted to, or think about your own children. Do you want them to be indebted to you? Do you want them to just do whatever you say because, you did them this favor by birthing them? I firmly believe that that's just not serving anybody. If you're keeping them around just for that reason, and every energy you get from them is negative, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. At that point, have a conversation with them if you can. By the way, I'm well aware that you can't always have that sane conversation with every parent. But either tell them look, what you're doing to me is causing me an inordinate amount of stress. I grew up with people in medical school whose parents said, you have to become a doctor or you have to marry somebody of this religion very specifically. And that's not who they wanted to marry. And that's not necessarily what they wanted to do with their life. And I kept saying, I can't even put myself in your shoes because my mom just wants me to be happy, whatever that looks like. And thank God that some of the people that I know got past that and said to their parents, I'm going to marry who I want to marry. I'm going to do what I want to do. And their parents, if they're good parents, will still love them. And if they're not going to love you at that point, I'm sorry, no amount of DNA should keep you tethered to somebody who only will love you conditionally if you do what they want to do or if you pay back this debt. So I'm going to try to stop ranting slightly a bit, but back to the quit. If somebody is giving you that much trouble, just because they are genetically related to you, they gave birth to you, they raised you, that does not mean you are indebted to them enough so you can keep them in your life forever so they can keep giving you grief, okay? I myself have technically quit one of my parents, and this is what I was trying to explain. This was what it can look like. My dad and I cannot get along in a conversation more than maybe 10 minutes. It could go south before 10 minutes. For sure. And definitely we shouldn't be in the same room. So at some point in time, I completely quit him. No phone call, no text, no visits. Since then, I've been able to say to him, look, I forgive you. I don't excuse some things you've done, but I can have a text conversation with him. And about twice a year, I have a phone conversation. But I'm here in O'Fallon, Illinois, which is where he and my mother live. And I'm staying at my mother's cousin's house. I think we got disconnected. It is too stressful for me to be in the same place. So I have quit the in-person portion of my relationship with him. And that's just an example of how it doesn't have to be an entire quit, or it doesn't have to be, like I say every time, it doesn't have to be a permanent quit. If you need to take a break from a person, do not feel like, oh, they're my parents, I can't take a break from them. If you take a break for your own health and you come back to them and they're like, oh, no, you took a break, we don't want to associate with you anymore. I'm sorry. No amount of DNA makes it okay to just, no, you're done. There's no reconciling, no forgiveness. Your parents, in my estimation, deserve as much love and as much gratitude and as much forgiveness and as much leeway as everybody else. Maybe like a little skosh extra, but not more than that. If you're not going to be friends with somebody who doesn't support you for such and such reason, I don't think you suddenly keep your parents in your life if they're completely, unsupportive in that same way just because they're related to you. Controversial, perhaps. As a person who has no children, again, I only have the viewpoint of being a person with parents and not a parent myself. But I know so many parents who've had kids for the right reasons. And, prodigal son, their kids can go off, do whatever craziness, come back, they still love them. That's the love of a parent as I see how it should be. But I don't see that the children should be forever indebted to those parents and the parents can have carte blanche to treat them however. And that then the children should just have to stay. Fully believe that if a quit of a parent is what is going to serve you and your sanity, then it's what you should do. After again, exercising whatever options you have, trying to talk to that person. My dad is not a person I can really talk to. We kind of tried a few times about this. It doesn't go well. Yeah, I just kind of quit. Try to talk to them. If that doesn't work, do what you have to do for you. This is your life. Again, with the same amount of love, gratitude, respect, anything that you would treat your other fellow human. We are all one, but not more. They don't get special license to treat you poorly and have you stay. Okay, dying to see the comments on this one, but again, I haven't had anybody on the podcast besides Amy in episode 2 or 3, I believe, Amy Porter, who she quit her mother, but that was such a small part of her story because she also quit the Mormon religion and some other things. So if you want a little bit of quitting your family, listen to that episode. But I've had a hard time getting anybody on the podcast to talk about this. And just yesterday, somebody actually volunteered to do so. So I look forward to that. But in the meantime, if you have any questions or thoughts on this, if you are a parent, would love to hear your thoughts. If you are a child, because we all are, love to hear your thoughts as well. But those are just my humble thoughts. Hope you have a great rest of your Thursday.